Hello everyone on Women Dialogue, and I'm your host Shashi Goel with all of you to learn to create voice for our future and for ourselves. And today's our guest is Tulia Lopez from Germany. She is a communication architect and founder of Speak Up and Lead Academy. She is a fabulous and very passionate speaker and author of Leading in High Heels. It's a bit of introduction, but we will get to know more about her in her word, in her way. So welcome Tulia on this platform.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure to be here with you today.
Thank you. It is our pleasure to be with you today as well. Thank you. So, as I was talking to our audience and to everyone, tell us about your early life and how you decided to become what you are today.
Oh, it's a long journey. Do we have time? I
Uh,
am originally from Brazil. Okay.
okay.
And my background is architecture. So this is why I call myself the communication architect. And I will tell you why I got into that. So in my early 20s, when I finished my career, I got the opportunity to go to Spain to work there, which are
Mhm.
those times I'm talking to you about the early 90s were really, really, really special times, like
Mhm.
and a special opportunity because people wouldn't travel the way we travel today. It was very difficult coming from South America to Europe. But then that my journey started there as a young architect in Spain, where I stayed for 3 years. And then life moved me to Ireland after that because I wanted to learn English. And I stayed in Ireland for 13 years. And in Ireland, I learned a lot in about IT because it was a time where Ireland was becoming the software and hardware hub in Europe. And then I'm
Mhm.
talking to you here the 90s to the early 2000s. So
Yeah.
I had this opportunity. I took the opportunity. So I shift from my career to do
Mhm.
something completely different. And I say I allowed myself to take that experience because somehow I thought this is something very, very new. It's very different. You
Yeah.
can think that those times we barely have had an idea what a computer was. We would sit
Yeah.
in front of those big machines and looking them as a monsters that could eat us up.
Yeah.
So I took that opportunity, and on that path and that
Mhm.
experience, which lasted almost 10 years,
Yeah.
I learned another skill that I had, which was
Hmm.
leadership.
Wow.
And I was I'm a people's person. So
Mhm.
be with people for me was not a problem, but leading people is a different story. And
Yeah.
working for big organizations like Microsoft and Apple at the time, or many, and you really have to learn how to
Mhm.
lead people and projects in time and schedules and all
Yeah.
the pressure. So that was an amazing experience that I had that I still carry with me today as
Mhm.
for
Mhm.
everything that I've learned on that period.
Yeah.
But then I decided that was enough because
Mhm.
this environment, this corporate environment, as we know, it hasn't changed. It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Everything is for yesterday, deadlines and craziness. But I
Yeah.
was missing one thing. I was missing my creative part, which is
Hmm.
my architecture background. And I felt that I was not so creative and I wanted to do something creative. So I started investigating, and then in one of my trips back home, Brazil,
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
was there on holidays. And then I started looking around and all this beautiful jewelry was started
Mhm.
coming to my face because in Brazil, I believe in Dubai as well. You love gold, don't you?
Yeah, it is. It is. That's so true. Because even originally I am from India and currently like I'm living in Doha. So definitely we have passion for different jewelries, different kind of these things.
Exactly.
And it gives sense
Yes,
of fulfillment actually when you see and you wear yourself. Oh wow, I'm looking beautiful.
exactly. We have this,
Yeah.
yes, we love jewelry because it makes us feel good and etc. And in Brazil, we have this, and not only the gold jewelry, but we have, as we call, the semi-precious jewelry, which is
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
gold plated, silver plated, with beautiful, natural, colorful stones.
Yeah.
And then I saw that and I said, well, they don't have that in Ireland. They don't
Yeah.
have this kind of thing. So in my trip back, I had my little box with few jewelry,
Yeah.
smuggling
Oh my God.
few jewelry.
This,
And I said,
I think this
gonna do
applies
a
on
trial.
all female because they you can say that in that way it applies on all female and all
Exactly.
female. Yes.
And
They
then I
have their
just thought,
own
I'm
style.
going to try. I'm going to just bring some with me and I'm going to show to my friends and see what they feel. And then we organized this party. And then I exposed all the jewelry there and was really like everybody, oh my God, this is beautiful, this is beautiful. And I said, wow, I think I have some business here. And then I started doing more and more. And then my mother became my agent in Brazil, sending me the jewelry. And then I started building this traction. And then I got to the point that I said, oh, I better have a place where I can really have exposed the jewelry. So then, long story short, I found a place and then I opened that store, which had my name, Julia Lopez, Dublin. And it was a big hit
Wow.
because definitely it was a novelty. And at the time of, in Ireland, because of all the software industry, they had a lot of money. So they had like, they are very progressive. So in women, they were looking for different things. So it was a great success. I was in newspapers, on the television, and it was all amazing. And
Wow.
then I got back to this part of my life that I wanted, the creativity, in which was lovely. And then I left behind the software industry completely. And then a few years after, I felt like, oh no, it's time to move on again because I had a divorce. So then I said, well, I don't want to stay here in Ireland, in this green, beautiful island, but it's too rainy and too dark, and I want some sun. So then I decided to go back to Barcelona, my favorite place in Spain, and I opened the same store, a new version of my store there.
Right.
And everything was going fine again. People were they were loving the jewelry and everything. And as everybody there in business, especially small business, you have the business a growth cycle. It's never uphill, but it's kind of up and down, but there's a growth cycle. And when it was about 2017, 2007, sorry, it was when the business was starting going up, and I said, well, that's good. Now I will start establishing myself here. And then the 2008 crisis came, the economical crisis. And with that, it was a global thing. And of course, jewelry, it was not a priority for the lives
Priority.
of people.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
from one day to another, had no really sales. I had really, really low sales. My sales went down about 80%, 85%, and then almost 90%. So that was really a dramatic experience for me. But that was a turning point in my life because then I had to do something fast because I need to survive, basically, was that way. And then what I did in this transition time, I, of course, called back all my IT contacts because there's always work in technology.
Yeah.
So, interesting enough, it had passed maybe 5-6 years that I had left the whole IT world. And when I called back, some people didn't even noticed that I had left. So it was very easy to integrate back, even working remotely. So in that way, I managed to transition, like closing the store. You know, closing a store is always closing a business is always a drama, because you have to deal with banks, you have to deal with angry suppliers, and you're paying everything and get rid of everything. So when that moment was, as I said, my turning point to say, what exactly do I want to do in my life? I knew, like, I didn't want to go back to the IT. IT was going to be just a support in the transition. And I knew I could not foresee when I could go back to my jewelry business because of the situation. And I had to do something. But in this process of searching, I really opened myself up to, let's see what's around me. And in that moment, a friend of mine, in a conversation, I said, you know what, I need to find different people, because the process of closing a business is very stressful. The people around me were the people that I had to, to deal with paying bills and things like that. I need to know different people where I can have more light and enlightening conversations. And in that moment, he said, why don't you join Toastmasters International? And I said, what's Toastmasters? Long story short, found a club in Barcelona and joined the club with the only intention of finding different people. But there I found some much more than that. And I always mention this because it was important. Toastmasters, I don't know if you know about Toastmasters International, do you?
Yes, I do aware. Yeah.
Yeah. And, the pillars of Toastmasters are communication and leadership. I had already my leadership experience, and I knew that I was pretty good on that. But the communication as such, I never had the experience of working on my communication skills. And as I started working on my communication skills, a new world opened for me. I started seeing relationships differently. I started seeing the impact of what I was saying, and how this could change people's lives. I started understanding that if I had those skills before in my life, in all the several different challenges that I had faced, with the crisis of closing the business, that going into IT, having to lead multi-language teams, that if I had better communication skills, I could have performed and delivered better results. And also the quality of relationships that you bring around you when you are able to express your values, your thoughts in a more clear manner. So that became my passion. And I became so passionate about it, and I started talking to friends about everything I was learning, that friends would start telling me, why don't you teach this to people? And I would say, why, they should just go to Toastmasters. But, many people don't want to go to Toastmasters for whatever reason. And then I started gradually, without really planning, teaching others what I was learning. And Toastmasters was the foundation, let's say. But then I started exploring, of course, other trainings, other coaches, mentors, and etc. So then in that path, which started in 2009, it became eventually my career and what I do today. In 2014, when I was then moved to Switzerland, I realized that there were so many women, amazing, brilliant women out there. And because there was a very strong entrepreneurship movement there, especially among the expat women. And I realized that if they had the skills that I had learned myself, they could do even much better. So then was when I started focusing more on women. And why, some people ask, why women? And I would say because we have some certain particularities, and when we are working in groups, and when women are together, only women, the process of transformation and the process of going more deep inside and more vulnerable is a faster process, because when it's a mixed environment, many women wouldn't dare to share certain personal things. So this was one of the reasons that I decided to focus on women mainly.
That way I can say that
some guys, but most women. Sorry?
I was just saying, like, that way I can say, like, your starting of your career, your life, living in different part of the world and country, but having the same passion, same energy for yourself, your creativity is kind of a path which lead you what way you are today, isn't it?
Exactly. And one thing I've learned, and for me, I find it's a blessing, because many people reach that on their 40s or 50s. And that for me was on my 20s, when still living in Spain, when I decided to move from Barcelona to Seville in the south, because I want to experience different places. And it was a big exhibition that was going to happen in Seville at the time in 1992. So I'm talking to you that I moved there in 1991, and I wanted to work on that. But when I got there as a young architect, when I got there, basically this exhibition, which was an international exhibition with pavilions and, and the buildings, that the projects were already done and they were constructing. So on that time, so there was not really too much work to do at the desk, which was my skill, right? And I was very young as well, and I didn't have the qualifications to lead, to manage a building site in Spain. So at that moment, I found that I didn't find the job that I wanted, and job opportunities were very scarce. And that was my first crisis in terms of identity, because my identity was fully aligned of me being an architect. Because I decided to be an architect when I was 14. And I had that in my mind, and I went through it, and then I built my path through university, and then I was there in Spain, fulfilling my dream as a young architect. And all of a sudden, not having a job, I felt that I didn't know what to do. And it was a big crisis for me, right?
Kind of shattering moment, I can say, because many of time, even and we are talking about you and your life, your journey, your story. I think it comes in many people life, not only women, men, and they feel themselves stuck, and they feel like they are nowhere. They are totally they don't meet with the world needs, right? Whereas if we are hearing your story and how you build up yourself, how you navigate your path for success, which is inspiring. So definitely, that's truly amazing.
Yes, and I want to make a reinforce this point of the identity, because this is so important. Some people, especially when you build a career, then you become the senior manager, then you become the doctor, then you become you attach yourself to a title. And then when you don't have that title anymore, you feel lost. And many people, especially in this moment in time here in Europe with the pandemic, where they're losing their jobs, is not only losing their jobs, is losing their identity. And it's very difficult to face that when you're in the 40s and the 50s. This is why I felt like that I was blessed, that I felt that I faced that when I was on my 20s, and it was painful. I remember crying days and days because I could not find a job, until I had to find something, because I had to survive.
Mhm.
And then I didn't want to go back home, Brazil, because I still want to explore the world. I
Yeah,
was there. I said, I want to do something. So long
definitely.
story short, my first job outside was to be a translator, because at that time, in this situation of the first job.
Mhm.
And then I became an interpreter, because there was there were events in
Mhm.
the for the same reason, and Portuguese people coming to Spain, and they would have an interpreter from Spanish to Portuguese. So
Yeah.
then I started developing that, and then at the top of it, that was the fun part.
Mhm.
I met two Brazilian musicians and one day in a bar, and then they
Yeah.
said to me, do you know, they were playing this bar and they were really good. And then I
Yeah.
went to talk to them, and they said, oh, thank you very much. And then in the conversation, they said, don't you know a girl, Brazilian girl, that could play sing with us? Because two guys on stage is not that fun. We need a
Yeah.
girl. And then I said,
Uh-huh.
me. And then I became the singer of the band. And that was
That's
such
so fun
an
and
amazing
yes,
experience.
yes, exactly. And I think that's so unique because how life takes us and how we explore ourselves, not like attaching ourselves to fixed mindset and having some fixed identity rather than having growth mindset and exploring ourselves. So it's amazing. Like it's like, okay, I, as you explained, at the age of 20, you wanted to see yourself as an architect, but how beyond you have gone through beyond rather than being architect. Definitely, it is always good to have your own, the plan, going with that same plan. But as we are talking about in current scenario in the pandemic, people are losing job, they are in stress, but the same way the approach as you took, it's incredible.
The thing is, what I learned from that experience is to
Mhm.
uncover some hidden talents, because
Mm.
I always loved singing. Doesn't mean that
Yeah.
I was a singer, but I
Mm-hmm.
dared to just say, okay, I'm gonna do this, because
Mm-hmm.
and it was also fun. But
Yeah.
then when the reason for me to move to Ireland, for example, was because throughout this experience in this expo
Mm-hmm.
in Seville and that time, they were
Mm-hmm.
in need of people who could speak English, and my English was very poor.
Mm.
And I could not take very good opportunities because I didn't have the language.
Mm.
Once the expo finished, which was in the end of 1992,
Yeah.
I decided that I want to learn English. And then the first thought was to go to London. And then a friend of mine there said, no, don't go to London. There's too many foreigners there. You're not going to learn English. You're going to keep speaking your own language. Go to
Mm-hmm.
Ireland. There's no foreigners there. And then I went
Mm-hmm.
to Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
So, in the interesting thing that in terms of the mindset, when I
Mm-hmm.
put myself to go there, I remember very well because that was important. I said, okay, I'm going to a country. I don't know the language. I will need to find a way to survive. So I
Mm-hmm.
will take whatever comes in front of me as an opportunity to get by
Mm-hmm.
until I learn the language. And
Yeah.
with that approach, I was so open that in a week that I was there, I already found a job. Okay,
Wow.
it was in a restaurant as a
Mm-hmm.
waiter, but I didn't
Mm-hmm.
speak the language. I
Mm-hmm.
spoke very little. I was there. I
Mm-hmm.
went to this restaurant. I put my application, and then I
Mm-hmm.
was. They took my application and said, "Well, you know, we are very busy, and but we will get in touch with you if we need something." And I said, "Okay."
Mm-hmm.
And then I was waiting for a friend. I said, "Can I just sit here one of the tables and wait for a friend?" They said, "Yeah, sure." And then while I was waiting there, a woman came, she looked at me, and I could see that she was asking who is she. And then the people said, oh, she came, and then she made an application, etc. So she disappeared, and then she came back with my application, sat in front of me, and started talking to me. And then I had to ask her to speak slow. I could understand, but I didn't. I was not fluent.
Yeah.
And then she asked me a few questions, and she looked at me and she said, "When can you start?" And I said, "What?" She said, "Can you start tomorrow?" And I said, "Yes." And that was it. I started there. In that time, this was a trendy restaurant. So all the artists and business people would go there. And I took that also as an opportunity to start
Yeah.
meeting people. And the need, it's amazing when you need something, how your senses, how everything changes, because in 3 months, I was able to communicate, to talk, to do everything. So after those 3 months, I started placing applications to work in architect offices, and I found a job. And then my career started again. I went back to my career again, working with an amazing architect at the time, learning a lot about restoration of buildings of the 18th century, something completely new for me, because in Brazil we don't have those things. And then was when, as I said at the very beginning, when the software and hardware
coming up,
madness came to Ireland, and then I got into that experience. I just shift to that experience.
Yeah, yeah. But that's approach, having yourself being open up and ready to learn and to create your path is definitely amazing, and same time motivating, because many of women, uh, if I remember, and I have a lot of friends, and they feel like, okay, but I am this. What should I do? What can I do? And I feel like, yeah, this is true, but you have this also. Why don't you try this? And I have very, close some of family members and friends. And when we were talking the similar, like the way you are sharing, and I was saying, but you are good in this. I'm not good at all in these things. Why don't you talk to your group or with your friends? Like, I'm doing this. Would you like to try? Would you like to have some? And then slowly, gradually, she built up her own business. And I'm talking when I'm sitting here at this place. So one of my friend, and she was saying, being an expat person, you are, sometime have to leave everything behind, as you can understand what the context, but your job, your career, everything, and just to follow because of your family and all. But same time exploring yourself in a new way, new journey, new life, all the way new things, and lot of learning, but same time lot of indirect pressure. So when I was talking to her, and she was finding herself so much confined and so much in that shape, Shashi, I have everything, but I am not feeling fulfilled. I said, yeah, but, and I know what she is doing. And I said, okay, but you spend a lot of time and you are passionate about this. Why don't you try to, as I explained earlier. So that's the way, like, how we connect the dots, how we find ourselves, our own hidden talent, as you was mentioning about your own journey. So today you are a perfect coach, communication leader, have worked with, world renowned companies, Deloitte, KPMG, Credit Suisse, and many world renowned businesses. And so what is your leadership style?
That's a very good question, because, the reason I wrote my book, Leading High Heels, was because my leadership style at that moment that I told you in my path in Ireland, in the IT company, was very much what I called the background leadership. What is it? With a leadership that I feel that many women fall into, which is not the ideal, because we are always in the background doing our diligent work. We are very good connectors. We are the people, but we never step forward to say and to acknowledge our own
I'm
achievements.
sorry.
You know, I was very as the typical, no, I don't need to go there. That's okay. You can go for me. I'm fine here. I'm doing my things. But especially in the career, in the corporate environment, if you're building career, visibility is really important. And just before being here in the call with you, I watched a video from a friend who is a coach as well, especially for people in business and building career. And he mentioned about this, I share with you, the pie. If you want to really be good in your career and achieve and grow, you have to follow this pie principle, which goes, P goes for performance, impact, and exposure. So no matter how good you are, no matter how much impact you create in your team, in the company, with your deliver, with your diligent work, but if you don't put yourself forward and expose yourself, that people get to know you, you're always in the shade or in the on the shadow of someone. So I know I'm a strong personality, and for me it was okay, but I didn't have this understanding. And for me, it was more now as a question of this understanding that, yes, I have to step forward, to stand up and speak up, because people need to know that it's Julia, the one who has created this movement, the ones who had motivated this team. So this is what I call, this for me is a call to action to all the beautiful women out there to not shy away from their achievements. And when someone compliments you and you don't have anything to say, do not try to justify, because we usually say, oh no, it's okay, oh that was nothing. Just don't say that. Just say thank you. Say nothing else. You don't need to say anything else. You just say thank you. And I usually in these days, I even say thank you, compliments taken. Meaning I acknowledge the person that I take your compliment, because also, do you know what you do when you say to someone that compliments you, they say, oh no, Sasha, that's okay. You're kind of invalidating the compliment. Because if you came to me to compliment about something, it's because you thought that something I've done is
That's
important
very
for
strong
you.
point actually. That's very
Yes.
strong. Like you have to validate and acknowledge, as you mentioned, like, because as a women we try, we know that, but still we are not in the mindset to accept and acknowledge by validating. Yes, and thank you, and I acknowledge it, I appreciate it. And same time, like, you help professional women by giving them leadership in a similar way. When you are talking about this, it's bringing me about asking you for that you help those professional women by giving them leadership tools and help them to excel in their careers. So as it is always a struggle for many women as to excel in their career because of a lot of reason, but one of the most important reason to know the correct leadership tools, right? So what kind of tools are required for women to excel
I
in
would say
their
not only
careers?
for women, I would say in general, but
Yeah.
for me, the pillar for everything is communication. Because in communication, it starts from your understanding your own self, and leadership, it starts from self-leadership. So this for me is the important point here, the crucial element, let's say the most important one, is really being able to express yourself in a clear manner, understand your audience, and communicate with them in a language that they understand. It's not your own language. Our job when we are communicating, and especially when we are leading, we have to understand our team, our stage on their leadership process, and communicate, give examples that are relevant for them. And the tendency that people have is when they give a presentation, or when they are having a discussion with someone and the other person does not understand, they say, oh, Sasha doesn't understand what I'm talking about. So guess what? When this happens, it's not Sasha's problem, it's your problem. You're the one who are there in a
because
position to give
basically
information.
you are creating barricade for the further communication to speak up and to
Exactly.
connect with them. Whereas as your job to connect, to communicate, rather than, as you mentioned, to show up your skills. It definitely skill part is there, but it's more important to connect and to speak up for the way you want to connect with others. That's so
Yes.
important. Yeah, yeah.
And then
That's
back to your question about the leadership tools, there's a
yeah.
very good book that I suggest. It's called The Situational Leadership. And you can Google and you find it. And in this book, it's very clear showing that every person is at a different level of leadership. And as you're the leader of that team, you have to identify the level of leadership of the people on your team. And
Yeah.
not always it's going to be the same. And you need to give different types of direction or coaching or mentoring to these people depending on their level of experience.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
today I would say my type of leadership would be very much bringing I'm very upfront, I'm very direct, I'm not kind of sugarcoating what I say, but I'm very aware of how I say things.
Yeah.
But I try to be clear as possible. And for me, my mission, my drive is to help women to really speak up, but speak up from a place where they feel confident, that they feel
Yeah.
comfortable, and that they feel authentic because it's aligned with their values. Because
Yeah.
once you achieve that, you're fine. You can
I think
lead
that's great.
everybody. You can go,
That's
you
great
can be
advice.
anywhere.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, that's great advice actually. That's so true. Like being authentic and no sugarcoating and be yourself. And that's so true. And it applies everywhere. Thank you. Thank you. That's so true. That's great advice. So when we are talking about all those leadership qualities, giving that leadership tool to women and even everyone, as you mentioned. So what you think having such kind of platform like Women Dialogue is so important for all of us?
Absolutely. And we were talking before we started recording, and because it's so important that we start this conversation, because women out there, they see that we tend to, when we see someone who has achieved a lot, we always think, oh no, because it's this person, oh no, because this person has this, oh no, because I can't, because I don't have that. But
Yeah.
everything's a process.
Yeah.
And everybody is fighting an inner battle. Believe me, no matter in which level you are, even if you have achieved a very high level, because if you're a person, you're an achiever, you want more, but not more for the ambitions of just having, but if you want to keep growing, because if you're not growing, you die. And that requires that you're always facing new challenges. So the important thing is that people have to, one, understand that there's no such thing as failure. Everything is an experience.
Yeah.
Yes, one thing that we have to learn is to be more strategic, for sure. More strategic, even when you're saying before that sometimes people feel, oh no, but I cannot do this, I cannot do that. But I say, maybe experiment, try it, but give it a time frame. You say, okay, I'm going to try to do this in this period of time. If it doesn't happen, experience taken, but I move on to something else. Not just do things for doing. And I think that's one of the things that happen, especially people when starting career. And I wish that I had this understanding at the time, but at those times we didn't know the figure of a coach or a mentor didn't exist. So having someone that can coach you, that you can sit and talk and plan strategically, and a plan is not set stone, it's going to change, but at least you have a roadmap, something for you to follow. And then if it's not working, you tweak here, you tweak there, and you keep going. That's the important thing. And platforms like this help to show that everybody is out there doing something. Everything is ups and down. When it's up, we celebrate. When it's down, we learn.
Yeah,
That's
that's
like
such
this.
beautiful
Now
way to
celebrate
explain.
and
Like,
now we learn.
celebrate and learn rather than feeling failure and success. It's up celebration and learning. Yeah, that's so
Yeah.
true. And thank you so much, Tulia, for sharing this wisdom with us, with all of our audience. And before finishing today's episode, what one key message or the takeaway from this episode would you like to give to our audience?
It's a message that I share every time I have an opportunity, and I'm going to share here again. I'm going to
Yeah.
tell your audience, your beautiful people out there, that they have to believe that their voice matter, that
Mm.
their story is important, because there might be someone somewhere in the planet that needs to hear what they have to say, not what I have to say, not what you have to say, but what they have to say. And if you
Yeah.
touch the heart of one person, you have
Yeah.
done a beautiful job already.
Yeah.
And that is just the beginning.
So beautiful, and very well taken. Very strong point. Once again, thank you so much, Tulia. I'm grateful for being with you today. Thank you. And thank you all
Likewise.
the audiences and listeners for watching and listening. And I'll see you again in the next episode on Women Dialogues. For more information, please check the details in the description below. And if you would like to connect with Tulia and her work, the links are available in the description below as well. See you next time. Bye.